Ever wish that the cook at your favorite restaurant had to take your advice? Members of Dinner Lab get that privilege and a 5-course meal at one-night-only restaurants in 19 cities across the country. So can connecting young chefs, enthusiastic diners, and comment cards change the restaurant industry's business model? Data. It's What's for Dinner in Startup Nation. It's a members-only startup. Dinner parties driven by data.
The restaurant space has been one that does not utilize data or information at all. It's one that is usually fraught with ego and intuition.
At Dinner Lab, diners grade the meal course by course.
I'm the chef tonight. Welcome to Dinner Lab.
They do pop-up dinners, experimental dinners.
It's a compilation of what 150 consumers think over the course of a night.
We have a golden coconut curry.
If it's something that I crave, again, I'll definitely give it a 5.
Carrot sweet and sour.
You have taste, and then creativity, drink pairing, and then is it restaurant worthy?
Third course is a play on broccoli beef.
The last course was not my favorite.
The main course is actually a whole roasted trout.
Very competitive. Why'd you put on that one?
It's kind of like a focus group. It's a national focus group.
These are people who are the number 2s, 3s, and 4s at major restaurants. People who have the technical proficiency to be a head chef, but haven't been given the opportunity to do so yet. We're basically aggregating all that information so that we can match someone's creative vision with what is commercially viable.
And I love the comment line.
It really allows us to kind of think beyond the box, to think beyond like a restaurant setting. All these spaces aren't conventional kitchens.
Most of the time, the Electric Studios is a photo video studio.
We didn't think that we were going to be cooking outside on the street. When you go to a regular restaurant, you're not actually talking to the people next to you. But here, there's some kind of magic that gets created where you're in an unconventional setting, basically, and you kind of break the rules.
I come with a more kind of experimental attitude.
We were discussing it about having fish on a bone rather than it deboned.
I saw them going by and I said, wow, that's a whole fish.
Eyeballs, tail, and all.
It was the greatest plate ever. It was a whole fish. How he got the bones out, I don't know. He's a magician.
He gave it a 6. He's not allowed to, but he gave it a 6.
Brian Bordenic is the CEO and co-founder of Dinner Lab, and thanks so much for being here, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
We know that the restaurant business is historically a very tough business. What makes it such a tough business, and why do you think you can really change the equation with data like this?
I think that the industry right now is predicated off of having a vision and then implementing it in the restaurant right off the bat. There's no real market testing or getting feedback from people who aren't just sort of saying, oh yeah, that's really good. What we want to do is really take the idea of this is what's really creative and this is what's viable in the market and land somewhere right in the middle of all that.
That makes sense, treating it like a real business instead of an artistic venture, right?
Exactly. You know, even when you look at other industries like the early days of airlines or even flight, people used to say, oh, if you're going to be a pilot, 1 or 2 of you aren't coming back. And I was like, what? Why is that the case? And then radar was invented, and people were like, okay, now this makes a lot more sense. We're using a lot more information. But we run into some obstacles because people say this is a creative endeavor, and getting someone's feedback has no place in this industry.
Dinner Lab members pay an annual fee. They then pay for each of the events that they come to along the way. I know that you've had to cap membership in certain cities, but how do you keep up with the growth? How have you grown?
It's been really challenging for us to keep up with the growth in the sense that we're always looking for extremely talented people who are sort of comfortable in a chaotic environment. What we're trying to do and what we hope to accomplish is establishing the largest culinary network in the world and a platform for those who are sort of on the precipice of their career to get out. And that's been really, really challenging for us to do as we've expanded. But we also get certain economies of scale with that growth because we can share our chefs across the country. So every city that we add is a new network and a new batch of chefs and people to share ideas with.
You sound like you've been kind of tinkering with the model as you've gone along.
Yeah, for sure. Like any startup company, we've definitely uncovered things along the way and new opportunities have presented themselves as we've grown. And that's what's really exciting is that, 2 years ago, I didn't think that we would ever be sitting on one of the largest culinary networks in the world, but it's where we are. Now we're trying to think about how we can get more people in contact with that.
Well, congratulations. I love the whole idea. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks. We got to get you out to a dinner sometime soon.
That sounds great. Up next on The Money, a look at the news for the week ahead and how to talk to your children about money, the biggest mistakes you're making, and teaching them the value of the dollar.